Hey there, let's talk about it. Hello, honeys. Welcome back to Busi Entertainment, where I bring you the best stories about some of the most successful artists in South Africa and abroad. Today, we're going to be taking a closer look at the rise of Mafikizolo, one of South Africa's most popular and influential musical groups of all time. Let's get started. Mafikizolo is popularly known as a duo, but at its inception it was a trio. So let's do a brief background on Mafikizolo. So the two most known members of Mafikizolo, Nhlanhla and Theo, both lived in Kagiso in Krugersdorp, and they met there while they were attending talent shows and contests. In 1996, Theo was a media student at Boston City campus, and he worked on the campus radio and knew someone who was famous from a popular music group named Jackknife, which Thandiswa Mazwai was a part of. Their contact from Jackknife was already signed with Kalawa, and this contact was said to show Theo and Nhlanhla the ropes, including how to make demos and how to get signed. Once they finally figured out how to get started, they recorded 4 tracks, a blend of R&B and Kwaito, and submitted to the popular Oscar Oskido Mdlongwa. He signed them, but since the 90s was an era of musical bands, Oskido decided to add a third person, Tebogo Debza Madingwane, who was an aspiring Kwaito star, and this is how Mafikizolo was born. In 1997, they dropped a self-titled debut album, which did not do as well as they had hoped it would. The sound was Kwaito, but the group's image was not yet put together. They released 2 more albums, which are Music Revolution in 1999 and Gate Crasher in 2000. Gate Crasher hinted at the group's potential, and while the album was Kwaito, it did feature an Afropop song by the name of Machika. Oskido called them to studio one day and played a song he wanted them to listen to, and they loved it. The song they described to have a 60s Marabi feel. This is when they adopted the Kofifi sound. They started wearing vintage clothing, hats, and shades, an image that stays true to Mafikizolo till this day. In December 2001, on their way back from a performance in Durban, headed to Rustenburg for a show they had, they decided to take a detour. They decided they wanted to arrive a day earlier than they should, and they decided that they will go by their parents' houses before heading for the road. Unfortunately, Nhlanhla recalls around 11 p.m. in Lichtenberg, a train slammed into the back of their car. The car was severely damaged, and they had to be taken out using the jaws of life method. The accident left Nhlanhla in ICU, hooked to machines for 3 months. In 2002, they released their 4th studio album titled Sibongile. The album was dedicated to thanking God for saving their lives during the train crash. The album had 11 hits and it was a hit. Kukothandayo, Ndihamba Nawe, and Sibongile became instant summer anthems, and the album sold over 380,000 copies. Theo discovered years after the accident that he had epilepsy, which was a consequence of the accident. In 2003, the group released their 5th album titled Kwela, which sold over 400,000 copies and bagged them a summer award. Their video for the song Emlanjeni is the last video the group is said to have shot together as a trio. On the 14th of February 2004, the third member of Mafikizolo, Tebogo, is shot dead in an alleged road rage incident near a Caltex garage on the Soweto highway. Though their recording company felt anxious about the success of Mafikizolo as a duo, Theo and Nhlanhla insisted that they did not want to replace their fellow band member and insisted on continuing as a duo. In the same year, Nhlanhla welcomed a bouncing baby girl. Mafikizolo went on to release 2 more albums, Fantuka Af in 2004 and 6 Mabone in 2007, before going their separate ways. During their break, Nhlanhla went on to start a clothing line by the name of NN Vintage. She also released her first solo album under her husband TK Nciza's label, TS Records. The album went gold and won a Metro Award. In December 2009, while Nhlanhla was promoting her second album, tragedy would strike again. Her 5-year-old daughter, Zinati, was being driven to nursery school by her maternal grandmother when Nhlanhla's mom blacked out behind the wheel. The car drove into a tree and Zinati was killed. Theo also worked on solo projects during their break. His second album, Grateful, earned him a Summer and a Channel O award. Theo also wrote for other artists such as Kelly Khumalo, Busi, and the Jazil brothers. Fans longed for the reuniting of the duo, and they suddenly fell under the pressure 7 years into their break. They released their long-awaited album titled Reunited. The album boasted hits such as Khona and Happiness. This album was released in 2013. This album was a huge success and it earned Mafikizolo several awards and accolades. The album also introduced a tweak into their sound as the duo embraced different singing styles that would cater to more African countries, such as their now signature Nigerian blend. This set the duo up for major success across the continent and led the follow-up of their latest album, 20, released in 2017 to celebrate 20 years into the music industry. The album featured collaborations with some of Africa's biggest artists such as Yemi Alade, Diamond Platinums, and Jah Prayzah. Today, Mafikizolo is considered one of SA's most successful and influential musical groups of all time. They won multiple awards and accolades over the years, including multiple Summers, BET, and MTV Africa Awards. Their music has reached audiences all over the world, making them ambassadors of South African music. That is it for today's video. If you enjoyed today's video, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Comment down below what you think about this group and which other artists you would like me to cover, and I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe. Goodbye for now.